Hey everyone, how's it going? Sarah here, and we're talking today about Storm Warfare and I guess it's the open beta tournament, right? I think it's open beta. So this is the second Storm Warfare 2-week tournament that they're having. I placed, I think, in the top 50. I know for sure the top 100. I think it was like 50. I think I placed like 51. I think I was like one off of top 50 last time or something like that. But currently I am sitting at rank 7 on the leaderboard in this second Storm Warfare event. And I've been playing Germany Control, and I thought I would show you guys the deck list that we're using. So the first thing to note is our hero ability is going to be the Infantry Commander. We're going to be making 1/1s with our hero power. I think it's pretty solid at helping you fight for the board, pushing additional damage, and just trading where you need it. The body is pretty useful. So let's get into it. Our 1-drop package is the Arado AR, which is a 2/1 blitz, solid at going face, solid at attacking other units and trading. This unit it's flexible, and it's a removal piece that goes face, so it works as late game reach or just a tempo piece. Very flexible, very solid. Similar to the Panzer, when you play it, it'll do 1 damage to a target of your choice. This can go face as well. So both your 1-drops, both good at controlling the board, also both really good at helping you find lethal in the late game. Something to note about the Panzer, this card is a tank, which is relevant with the Herschel HS. Which, yeah, just keep that in mind. You can find certain ways where you can kind of curve out with this and use the Herschel if you do play this exact list. Um, our 2-drop packages, I guess package, would be the Panzer 35 and the Walther P38, and then as well as your Infantry Commander hero power, of course. The Walther, I think, is your preferred card to play on turn 2 in pretty much most situations. The Panzer is also quite good though, and it can trade with a lot of things. The only thing you have to be careful about when playing the Panzer is it is quite weak into the bombardment hero ability if it hits, right? If you do play the Panzer and your opponent does choose to play the bombardment ability and they miss the 50-50, you can actually start pulling very far ahead very quickly. So, and it is risky against bombardment, but it is generally going to be card disadvantage against it. But otherwise, if they don't have bombardment, the Panzer is actually very difficult for them to deal with in the early game. That 3 power will trade into most things, or it'll be useful for pushing early damage. It only takes 10 swings from the Panzer to kill your opponent in this game, so definitely good at pushing some nice damage. Walther, great for just controlling the board. This card can be useful to give something blitz. You don't do that. You don't do the blitz thing too often. I feel like it's fairly unreliable because if you already have a board, when you give something blitz, it could just give the blitz to something that's already been in play for a turn. So it requires a lot of setup. But that said, there are ways that you can get this active with the blitz, and it is quite useful. But what I'm trying to say is you do not need the blitz from the Walther. That it's gravy. Like just playing this as a 2-drop is really good as is, and the blitz is just like bonus upside that makes this card like cracked in the late game if you do have additional mana and something to play it with. The Henschel HS is probably one of the weakest cards in the deck, but it is still pretty good. It is a 3-mana 3/3, and when you play it, you can give a tank or an infantry +1/+1. I find myself playing this just as a 3/3 and not even getting the effect somewhat often. And I don't even mind that. Just the 3/3 in this game is pretty good. Um, it could be better, but a 3/3, it's like it trades, it lives. It's annoying enough for them to kill. It doesn't die to bombardment. It's pretty good. The Pack 36, solid with the Panzer, right? Works well with just getting that chip damage in as well as with the Walther. This card is just really good at controlling the board. And at the end of the turn, it does have that artillery 1. So each turn your opponent doesn't answer this, it will generate additional value each turn. And slowly whittle your opponent down, so that your opponent will have to deal with this. Like the pressure it puts out is like not so huge that they're like they need to kill it right now, but like they need to kill this thing, right? Like they can't leave this in play forever, realistically. Otherwise, it'll just get out of control for them. Panzer II. You do play the full package. There are 5 Panzers in this deck. You play all the Panzers. Panzer II is a 3-mana 3/2 with Final Stand. And you do have a little bit of like a sticky Final Stand package. So you have this Panzer II, you have the U-36, and then it's not Final Stand, but the 87th Grenadier Regiment. When it dies, it summons the Sturmgruppen, and it's basically like since it dies and summons another unit, it's similar to these Final Stand units where they're just like these sticky value cards. And these cards are kind of how you pull ahead in a lot of games. Is they just kind of like 2-for-1 your opponent in a lot of spots and can grind them out of resources if used properly. So yeah, we talked about the 87th Grenadier. I do have a little bit more to say about the U-36, but we'll do that later. Encirclement Operation is just we'll talk about Encirclement Operation and Screaming Birds of Prey. But first, Encirclement Operation. I would say with both of these cards, don't be too greedy with them. If you can play it and it like kills a thing or two, or for the Encirclement Operation, like if you can play this and it like deals with something pretty reasonable, and a lot of the time, like if I feel like I can get like 4 damage or like save a unit that's pretty good with the Encirclement Operation or with the Screaming Birds of Prey, I'll just take it. I try to not be too greedy with these cards. Yeah, I would say just kind of read the situation of the game to see how greedy you need to be with these cards. I would say. Um, let's talk about. We'll get to the Jew in a little bit. We'll talk about the Strum Pioneer Battalion 178, which is a crazy name, dude. But this card for 4 mana, you get a 3/4, and you draw a unit, and it can draw itself, or it can draw like your Krupp K5 Leopold, your Panzer 5, your Panzer 3s, not Panzer 5, Panzer 4, your Panzer 3. You can it can get you a lot of value, and then you have all these 4 mana cards as well. So like very often, the Strum Pioneer is going to be drawing you like quite a bit of value. And in the late game, like say it's turn 10, right? You can play the Storm Pioneer, and then you can play another 4-drop, and then you can also make a 1/1 with your hero power. It's a pretty efficient turn. So definitely, this card in the late game is one of the best cards in the deck for sure. And then we'll talk about the U-36 and the Ju-87, because they're both pretty similar. They're both Blitz units. One is a 4/4, the other is a 3/3 with Final Stand. Fairly similar, but make sure you order them in the right way when you're playing against your opponent. Try to get the most out of the Final Stand from the U-36. Try to get the most out of the 4 health from the Ju-87. And then also just kind of calculate and figure out the pace of the game, and figure out if you need to use these cards to control the board, or if you can go face with them, because this deck will play control for a lot of the early game, but at some point you have to hit the opponent. You have to figure out when you can start becoming aggressive. And the way you play the U-36 and the Ju-87s is kind of going to determine how you become the aggressor, I imagine. The Panzer III, just the 6 mana 4/7 with Thunder, so it'll be able to attack a unit on the turn you play it. It's just a pretty beefy stat stick. 4/7 is like actually a pretty solid stat line, all things considered, and it's fast. It kills something, so the units that you have in play can keep attacking the face while you control the board. Definitely a solid top end finisher, or not finisher, but top end card to draw to help you close out the game and help you push that damage and just get value and tempo on your opponent. Panzer IV is the best card in the deck, I believe. For 7 mana, you get a 5/6. It's got Blitz, so it can attack the enemy face immediately, or it can attack an enemy unit. In addition to that, when you play it, it retreats an enemy. So you can use this to bounce your opponent's best thing and then kill their second best thing. Or you can just use it to bounce their best thing and attack the opponent right away and push for a very quick lethal. This card allows you to really turn the corner on your opponent in a lot of situations and go from being the control deck to being the aggressor very quickly. And then your late game finisher. One moment. Yeah, your late game finisher. The Krupp K5 Leopold. This card is sick, actually. I really do like this card. If you've played Hearthstone, I really like the card Ragnaros. I think everyone who's played Hearthstone is fond of Ragnaros. This card to me feels like Ragnaros if he didn't screw you every game, like Rag tends to do. This guy, when you play him, it will do the 7 damage to an enemy unit guaranteed. And then at the end of the turn, it'll also artillery 7. So it will consistently remove at least one thing, if not more, and it'll go face. In many in a lot of situations, you can, especially if depending on the way you play this card, like what the board state looks like, this card can like very consistently kill your opponent's best thing and push 7 damage, which is massive. That is 7 damage is over 1/5 of your opponent's HP, their max HP. So this combined with your other blitz units, so it'll really put the pressure on your opponent for sure. And this card is just a solid late game finisher. You'll win a lot of games with this card. I've won quite a few. So yeah, that's the list. If you want to give it a shot, I think it's quite good. Like I said, right now I'm sitting on rank 7 with this deck. I was rank 6 earlier. But I guess people passed me up. I only played 5 games yesterday. I didn't have time to play today. I'm gonna make another video where we do get some games in, but I haven't had time to play right now. Hopefully I do soon, and we can get some gameplay going for you guys, because I think you I'll show you how I would play the deck. Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you all soon.